So you can go ahead and close your eyes and just let yourself get comfortable now. You can breathe in and out. Just start to let yourself focus on the sound of my voice. Just breathing and focusing and awaken. Good. And of course, when I say awaken, you might naturally ask yourself the question, am I awake? And you could just kind of go inside now and check, are you awake? You might check your body to see if there's any kind of energy there or any signs that you're awake. You might notice your mind and notice how it's focusing and how you're following along with every word that I say. And that's usually a pretty reliable sign, right? That sounds like it's good. And, you maybe if you're knowledgeable about hypnosis, you may also know that if you're focusing inside and if you're listening and following along and concentrating, then those are also pretty reliable early trance signs. So you might ask yourself the opposite. Am I in trance right now? And you can check for that. Are you in trance right now? Checking to see if there's any relaxation inside of you, any bodily sensations that might tell you you're in trance, any difference in your thinking. I know for a lot of people, they might like to check, their previous trance experience, when they've previously been in trance. So when you've previously been in trance, how did that feel? And how does that compare to this right now? How did those feelings compare with these feelings? And maybe as you're noticing that, you might notice that you are indeed kind of in a trance right now. So if you are hypnotized right now, that's okay. You can just awaken. Good. And it's okay to feel like you're awake. It's okay to convince yourself that you're awake during this. You can notice that your body feels awake, for example. You can wiggle your toes or wiggle your fingers. And if you did just wiggle your toes or your fingers, you did just respond to an indirect suggestion. And, it's kind of trancy. But you can still feel awake. It's okay. It's okay with me if it's okay with you. If you want to feel awake, that's cool. So just to provide a bit of education, what we did a moment ago is something called a transderivational search. And what that is a fancy hypnotist term for asking someone to look inside themselves, either for a result or a feeling, something they might notice. And when you look inside yourself, at least like that, you're almost automatically going to go into some sort of trance. And the reason why is because you're blocking out the rest of the world and you're noticing what's going on internally, and that's inherently kind of trancy. And you may have seen that in action before. So, for example, a hypnotist asks a subject, which hand is heavier right now, your left hand or your right hand? Or maybe it's a fancy hypnotist and they ask, which hand is heavier right now, your right hand right there or your left hand left there? Are your left hand right there? Are your right hand left there? And you can just relax and notice whichever one is heavier and let yourself just drift and yada, 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 yada. And you can notice when someone is asked that question, their face goes blank usually, or maybe it looks a little bit perplexed or confused or questioning, and they'll look inside themselves. And normally you can see that while they're doing that, their breathing tends to deepen, their muscles tend to relax. And even though they might not notice it yet, they're already entering trance. And from there, it's just very easy. Once you're breathing and you're relaxing, it's very easy to enter trance because trance feels really good. Trance feels so good that if you give yourself a chance to feel it, a lot of times you will. And it's really easy for your mind to follow what already feels good for you. So you just kind of breathe and relax, and you give yourself a moment where there's nothing you really need to do. There's nothing you really need to think right now. There's nothing required of you. You can just relax. You can follow and listen, and that's what you've been doing this whole time. So you listen, you follow, you breathe deeper, and you feel better. Maybe you can do it in reverse. Maybe you can feel better. So you breathe deeper. So you follow. And you listen. Very good. And if you happen to be in trance right now, that's totally okay. I'm actually going to use this as an opportunity to show you my favorite awakener, one I learned several years ago. So, as I count up from 1 to 5, you can feel yourself come out of trance whenever feels right. So we're going to start with 1. More and more awake. 2. And you can feel like there's cool, refreshing water rushing up through your body, making everything feel cool and calm and refreshed. 3. Feeling that water go even higher, even up to your mind as it rushes through and makes everything calm and still and refreshed. 4. Almost all the way back now. And 5. Wide awake. And of course, from here, it's very easy to hypnotize you. And we're going to do that by having you imagine a beautiful staircase with 5 steps. And you can easily picture that in your mind. And you can picture yourself on the top step, stepping down to 4. There you can feel those muscles relax even more. 3. You can feel yourself going deeper and deeper now, even deeper with 2. You can feel like you're almost all the way down, and 1. Awaken. Very good. And there's something else neat we can do here too. So you may be a little bit groggy right now. So we're going to show you a way to be more awake, right? So when I snap my fingers right now, you can be even more awake. Isn't that cool? It's kind of like you've had a few cups of coffee and you can get more awake as I snap. Almost like you've had another shot of coffee and more awake, more, and drop. Down, deeper, deeper, drop down, letting your body collapse, letting your mind go down, letting your shoulders relax, letting everything just drop more and more, heavy and comfortable, letting yourself adjust into a place where you're just so comfortable now, just listening and following, and listening. Very good. You know that you're listening to a hypnosis recording, and when you're listening to a hypnosis recording, you're never really awake. You know that you've never really been awake the whole time you've been listening to this, since this is a hypnosis recording. And that's okay. It's okay if sometimes you feel like you're awake, even when you aren't. And you know that when this pilot ends, you are actually going to come all the way up out of trance, feeling really good and feeling for real awake. You know, you can let yourself feel awake for real after this file ends. But for now, breathe and relax and awaken.